Welcome, Amna. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah, now better. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you all at Fintech Surge. We're going to be having an interesting discussion today on fostering innovation through collaborative partnerships and magnetizing talent to the Fintech hubs and companies in the region. So I think this is something that is very relevant to all of us. And luckily, we are joined by some brilliant panelists who will be sharing their insights with us today. So let's begin. I'll ask our panelists to kindly introduce themselves. Let's start with Tram Ann, please.
Yes. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nguyen, and I'm the co-founder of CFTE. We are the Center for Finance, Technology, and Entrepreneurship. And first, it's a great pleasure to be here, and thanks a lot for the invitation. So what do we do at CFTE? So we are educational platform for educating people in fintech and the future of finance. My role, I used to be a banker, and now I'm an entrepreneur. I used to have 20 years of banking, and now an entrepreneur with the idea to really much how do you create talent in this new world of finance, which is transforming really, really fast. And so we have the chance, so we are based in London, but also in Singapore, Abu Dhabi, and Hong Kong. And we have a large community of alumni, 160,000 alumni in fintech and over 130 countries. And I'd love to share our views of how do we create meaningful partnership and collaboration. Thanks a lot.
Amazing. And next we have William.
Hi, my name is William Balbine, Managing General Partner at Orbit Startups. So we're part of the SOSV Consortium. We're the most active early stage VC in the world. So in 2022, Magnet named us the number 3 most active investor in this region. And we have about 29 portfolio companies active in the GCC. Now 4 of them are from here, but 25 we help come here and land here. So selling first, then putting feet on the street, finally raising money here, and then actually setting up here. So it's all about, sometimes it's really all about talent, and a lot of that is cross-border.
Amazing, thank you. And just my introduction as well. I'm a financial economist and frontier tech strategist, and it's a pleasure to be moderating today's panel. So let's jump in, but however, let's first lay a foundation to build the conversation upon. So William, maybe you can help us understand the current fintech MENA landscape. So briefly, what are the major trends that have been shaping the fintech landscape in MENA these past 3 years to where it stands today?
Yes, I think it's pretty early days still. They were missing regulatory frameworks, which are now, for the most part, put in place. Still a lot of work to be done. I think the biggest change, though, has been actually those frameworks coming into place. So, for example, for Dubai, they've been very forward around blockchain. There's FinTech Surge, there's also blockchain in the next hall over. And putting in place VARA, really taking advantage of the fact that Hong Kong shut down crypto. So most of the Hong Kong crypto folks actually moved to Dubai. So the number 2 was actually head of compliance in Hong Kong for one of our really early blockchain investments, BitMEX, which is the first basically cryptocurrency derivatives exchange in the world that created a perpetual swap. So when you have markets around the world taking a step back on regulatory side, but you have Dubai taking a step forward, you can actually attract talent and strip talent from other markets. And that's what we've seen happen in Dubai. So that's on the blockchain side. In terms of payments, step by step. And I think we're seeing a lot of the neobanks starting to get real usage.
That's very interesting. And, living and being in Dubai today, we can really see that Dubai is taking a lead when it comes to frontier and emerging technologies. However, even overall in the MENA region, digital transformation is really taking place. We have seen, emerging and frontier technologies such as generative AI, big data, blockchain, Web3, as William mentioned, all of these shaping the fintech landscape. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2023 has stated that 75% of all companies plan to incorporate these technologies within the next 5 years. So given that, Tram, what are the specific skills and qualities that fintech companies in the region are looking for when they're scouting for talent today?
Yes, no, thanks, Amna, for asking the question. In terms of skills gap, we've done a lot of research on ourselves. We're in education. So what we do is that we spend a huge amount of time surveying, asking questions to all the CEOs of fintech companies around the world, and including here, to ask them what are the jobs that they're creating, what are the talents they are looking for. And based on our finding, what we've done is that we've done the huge taxonomy of jobs. So during COVID time, so 2 years ago, we spent a huge amount of time asking those 225 unicorns around the world. And we asked them, what are the jobs that you are creating? And we analyzed these 40,000 new jobs that didn't even exist even 5 or 10 years ago. And we did a huge taxonomy of jobs and skills. What are the skills you need to get into those fintech companies? And so I invite you, and it's a collaboration with the whole industry, and there's a huge knowledge gap. As you said, AI, blockchain, digital asset, payments, everything is impacting the industry in a big way, but how does it take in terms of skills? So we work very closely with governments. So I'll tell you more a little bit about our engagement in the UAE with governments, but with the industry. So what about the skills? And you all know AI is disrupting jobs. A lot of people find it really, really hard and challenging to cope with the pace of changes. And what they've learned after 15, 20, even 30 years of experience is that what they've learned at university or at their work is not relevant anymore. They can't cope with the big knowledge that is happening. So what do? We spend a huge amount of time helping different levels. What are the skills? So we do framework. So if you have a bit of attention, I'll share with you our 3 framework. How do you get, and what are the skills you need to get in an AI world? We've developed an innovation framework. So an innovation framework is similar to a competitive evolution of banking. If you want to understand our innovation framework, you can ask me, but it's going to be too long to share. We've developed a task automation framework, which is similar to the evolution of self-driving car. You say, what is she talking about? There is a framework about this, but I want to spend time with you as an individual. What are the skills you need to want if you want to get into fintech or the future of finance? So I ask you, audience, and I'll repeat a bit, it's about SHIME framework. So what do you think are the 5 skills you all need to get in order to get into the fintech, the future of finance? So is it only hard skills? People would say, oh, I need to learn. I need to develop those tech skills. Of course, it's very important to develop those tech skills. What do you think is under SHIME? So I can ask the audience, but I'll get you to share. We've developed a framework, which is the new skills in finance. And of course, it's important, as you all know, to develop hard skills. Hard skills about financial markets, portfolio management, payments, blockchain, digital asset. Today, in a tech world, as tech is really converging into finance, it's very important to develop S. What do you think S means for? Soft skills. I think it's really important today, S, is to spend time at developing soft skills. So we spend time talking with CEOs of startups, with people in the bank, and if you don't have soft skills, then what is soft skills? People would say, what is soft skills? Soft skills is presentation skills. Soft skills is teamwork, coordination, delegation, negotiation. It's about critical thinking. What is I? I for, and this is why you're all here today, it's the industry knowledge. You wouldn't be here today if you wanted to know what's really happening in the industry. M stands for mindset. I think you need today to develop some capacity to think like an entrepreneur, a capacity to adapt very quickly, and E for experience. So this is our SHINE framework, and it helps and is an assessment tool to really develop people at an organization level or at an individual level, or today we're using this SHINE framework to upskill and reskill, but to create talent. So you can come from any industry today, and you can develop those SHINE framework, and it will help you to be in the future of finance.
That's very interesting. And, if anyone has any further questions, please feel free to raise a hand and join in the conversation with us. So there's a lot to take in, and the reason why I love the topic we're discussing today is because it is so relevant to all of us, whether we are working for companies or whether we have our own businesses. So if there's any question, feel free to jump in. Now, I'm going to move to the topic of collaborative partnerships. Now, Tram, coming back to you, since you mentioned education as well, how have partnerships and collaborations between fintech companies, traditional banks, and educational institutions impacted talent acquisition in the region?
In a very, very big way. I think without collaboration and partnership, it wouldn't work. I think today, as being an education, we need, and that's why I'm here today. Why am I here? Why an educational platform like ourselves, CFTE, are here today? Because we want to understand the trends. We want to understand what are the latest trends that is happening with the industry. So we at CFT, we have our team going and speaking with the leaders and the thought leaders in the industry to really understand what's happening in the UAE, what's really happening, so that after that we can create content. And so people, being in the US, Europe, Asia, India, Africa, can really learn and understand. So we partner with the startup CEO to do that. So we invite them even to teach on our platform. So they become not only thought leaders, but they become teachers. Today, how are we collaborating as well is putting some alignment and building academies with the banks. So this is how we can create talent to really help the banks to find the best talent by bringing academies and in syllabus that they don't know, fintech, AI, digital asset, etc. And it's a collaboration within the whole industry and also with the fintech hubs. What I want to say is it's really important that we keep our knowledge relevant on a constantly manner. But it's also very important that we work with the regulators, and something that perhaps, it was not part of the questions, but we spend a huge amount of time with regulators. And why with regulators is because it's really important that the voice of the regulators are heard, and they are starting to become more and more not only supervising, but educators as well.
Yeah, so we look at the market, you can think about it high finance or traditional finance. So interacting with the banks, then you have more like consumer finance, fintech, payments, savings, things like that. So for the high finance, mostly B2B, a lot of the talent is coming from Singapore, is coming from Hong Kong, is actually coming from China. Whereas if you're looking at a lot of the payment side, if you think about the vast majority of the population, they're actually migrants. And the people who are kind of lower income, middle income, they're probably the people who drove you today in a Kareem. They're actually operating in a cash economy still here. But at home, everything is digital. If you go to India, or if you go to, maybe not so much Pakistan, but if you go to India, it's basically all digital. So from the fintech side, we're pulling startups and talent from markets such as India, from around the region, into this region, into the GCC, into the Middle East. More of the high finance side, it's coming from the traditional finance centers in Asia, because there is a shortage of talent on both sides. Now, so for us, we're investing in companies that have done well in other markets and that are coming here and enabling local partners. So you're talking about collaboration. So you have the local banks, you have the telcos, for example. They have a program where you can come in and partner. In Saudi, the telco SDC, you can partner with them. And so a lot of the talent is coming from overseas, either as people or as startups and companies moving cross-border. And then what's really key is partnering locally to get access to the market. So of the 25 companies that we brought here, to this region, we helped them first sell. And that's the key, and that's where that partnership comes into play.
I think you've given some great examples. Now, we all understand the importance of successful collaboration, especially since it's been explained so nicely by both of you. But it can't be so easy. There must be a lot of challenges involved as well. So, William, coming back to you, since you gave such great examples, what are the most common challenges in establishing these partnerships, and how can they be addressed?
So the first challenge is that actually putting people on the ground here is quite expensive. So to some extent, for our companies, they have development somewhere else, and they have business sales and to some extent product here. So a challenge is the cost of doing operations is pretty high. The second thing is that when you're hiring, you can have international, but it's also, especially in some markets, very important to have local. The advice that we've gotten in some of the markets around the region is, you have a mix in the workforce, not just a bunch of guys, but also women as well, right? So it's a bit of a balance because in the end, the immigrant or the expat population kind of dwarfs the local population. So you need to have both a balance of local and international, and then a balance men and women, especially on the local side.
Yeah, I love that you bring in the balance of the importance of having a diverse and inclusive talent. IMF recently published a report which said that increasing women in the workplace can increase the economy's growth by 8.2%. So that is something that is very important. So great point bringing that in. I'd like to ask our audience if they have any questions on collaborative partnerships for our panelists before we move on to another topic on education. So raise your hands, otherwise we'll move on to education because it's important to see it from the point of view of education as well. Now, the MENA region has embraced frontier technologies from the very get-go, and it's a risk that has paid off. However, there's a need for the talent to catch up with all the exponential pace of technological advancements that's taking place. So with that, some countries and smart cities like Singapore have approached this via a lifelong learning concept, such as Singapore's Skills Future movement. So Tram, is this something that is also being addressed in the MENA region by the companies themselves, by smart city initiatives, or by the governments?
No, thanks a lot for asking the question. I'll answer a little bit more on the successful partnership and collaboration, and then I'll move on to your question. I think it would be really hard to think that you can copy-paste what you've done in a country and replicate it in here. What we've done in Singapore, for example, is really, really different to create talent at scale. And with upskill, reskill, we work in really strong partnership with the government, where CFTE is a knowledge partner of the regulator and the government, because they put a lot of focus on lifelong learning. How do you make sure that adults are being reskilled and upskilled? And so what we've done is that we partner with the largest university. So for example, with Nguyen University, which is a university in Singapore, we partnered by launching with the whole industry, not only in Singapore, but the whole industry around the world, a program training and everyone in artificial intelligence in finance 5 years ago. Now it helps to upskill and reskill everyone, but it's not only a program for the local people, but it's for everyone. And this program is supported by the government. And so today we are having not only all the banks and the tech company, the insurance company, but also people that are coming from totally different backgrounds, could be from biotech, could be from legal, marketing, creating talent to bring it to Singapore. And it works really, really well, because now it's not only in AI, but we've just developed a program with Singapore Management University on blockchain and digital asset, which is now a very reference program in the world, including 300 industry experts, even with people in the UAE, but very much with the idea that we need to skill up very quickly at scale the continent. Does it work here? I think it needs to be, it's challenging. Why is it challenging? Because I think you need to understand what we want to achieve here in UAE. That's why we are working and partnering with the governments. That's why CFT is with the industry, really important to be close with the industry leaders, with the ecosystem, and finding, CEOs of Fintech, and to get them to teach so that people can really understand the local color. But what we do is that with the government in the UAE, we have developed, and we are in partnership with ADGMA, which is the regulator. So for those who don't know ADGM, because they are from overseas, is the Abu Dhabi Global Markets, who created their own academy. And we've launched a lot of schools with the government, a program on digital transformation to train the employees of government in various different topics on fintech, on AI, digital transformation, data science, cybersecurity. And what we've done is that we get them to get the right knowledge. And then after that, we get all of them to work on hands-on projects. So people will have a chance to work on application. How does it really work for you if you were in a bank or if you were at the regulatory level? What we've done also live session. We've done schools, but what we've done also is training the senior. But something I'm really proud of with ADGMA is we've launched scholarship for women. So we've launched a scholarship for women, and we've launched a scholarship for people from totally different backgrounds that never had experience either in finance or technology, to now come on board and get accelerated so that they can, after that, join either a fintech startup or working for a bank. And the second, perhaps, example of what we've done in the UAE and with Abu Dhabi, and it's with the Emirate Institute of Finance, where we create a program for the graduates. So it's a fintech graduate academy where we train all the juniors to speak the same language as the industry. Everybody speaks the same language. We've trained the employees of the banks about fintech. We have our own program of Fintech 360, which is a very global program to get people to think what's happening here, but also around the world. And so we help them even how to build a fintech app. So all of this was done with the government, and it was really, really good because it was done by involving UAE trainers. So all industry leaders who come and teach local people about it. It was challenging because how do you do it at scale? How do you get people to be trained very quickly? So it's about the mindset, changing, the culture of learning, making sure that they get rewarded. But when they've done it, now we have people transforming and getting into the ecosystem.
give you a couple examples. So we invested in a company called Linkstar out of Pakistan. If you know anything about Linkstar or Pakistan, they've had a currency devaluation of about 50%. So great talent in Pakistan, and everything is 50% off. So they have good programmers, great social media, online talent, and then we helped them come to this region, and they acquired a company here called Olive, O-L-I-V, which is training plus jobs. So it's not just about training, but we call it future of work. But basically, you have the training, but it leads directly into a job. Now, if you're looking at markets like Saudi Arabia, for example, they have a lot of talent shortfall in Riyadh. They have a huge number of people throughout the rest of the country that don't have jobs. And then there's a training gap. So the idea is you train and then you move the people, whether it's Pakistan to UAE, or whether it's from one of the outer provinces or districts in Saudi to Riyadh, where the jobs are. The second example is a company that landed here, and they're looking to come back here, but they're not currently here. But they're mostly focused on Southeast Asia, called New Campus. So the average manager in a fast growth startup, like a Sunicorn or even a unicorn in Southeast Asia, is 33. These people have really no clue how to manage. So what this is almost like an online person to small group, live taught, not so much an EMBA, but on skills to actually help people who have never managed before to actually manage. So simple things, you might think they're simple, but actually just learning how to delegate and how to properly manage. So after the course, 40% of the people who went through the course got promoted to the next level up within the next 3 months. And it's really about practical education tied to an actual job as opposed to traditional ivory tower university education.
I think that's very interesting, and we can go on for much longer, but we're running out of time. So we'll end on a rapid-fire question quickly. I'll ask both of you to answer, since we're on topic of fostering innovation. So the top 3 priorities when fostering innovation with talent and partnerships in the MENA region. Let's start quickly, Tram.
Oh, quickly, it's a long question, so very quick, but 3 words. I think it would be first, if you want to make meaningful partnership, I would say think local, think global. I think it's really important that you think what's really happening in your country, in the region, what is really needed in terms of workforce, what do we want to create as a global market, as a country, as a region. And then after that, look at globally what worked, what didn't work, learn from what's been happening. I mean, I've been in the UK and we've seen for a decade, what's happening in the Fintech. I've seen what's happening now in Asia for the past decade. And so what I would say is that have the curiosity also to, there are lots of industry experts around the world here, learn from them. Because there's a great partnership that we can do so that we can't repeat mistakes, because mistakes has been done. So I would say that. The second thing I would say is that, and I see my friend Ronit here, is, the MENA Fintech Association. You have amazing ecosystem here in the UAE, in the MENA. Take advantage of what they're doing, because they're fostering a lot of people to come to them to learn and to connect. And we have the chance to have an amazing, association, and Fintech Association here in MENA are driving a lot of things. Connect with them, learn from them, and to foster meaningful partnership. I would say, it's all about sharing and networking and making alignment with what's, for us would be at a regulatory government level, but with the industry, with the academia and all the banks, but trying to help and support each other. Because if, for example, and as William was saying, you want to build something here, where do you connect with people so that they can introduce you to a lawyer, they can introduce you to meaningful people, and it's globally as well. So I would say connect with a large ecosystem.
Amazing. Thank you. William, now?
Yeah, so I bring it all down to learn by doing. There's a company called PayPal. The founders did well, they sold, but there's also something called the PayPal Mafia. So the people who worked within PayPal went on to build companies of their own to drive a huge amount of value creation. So think about your leading startups here. The people who are driving business units and product development and engineering within the local leaders are going to be the future leaders of the next generation of this ecosystem. So giving them the funding, the support, and also the access to partnerships, labor, and of course capital, because we're a VC, will be key to the development of this market as a fintech ecosystem. So thanks so much.
Thank you. Excellent insights from our panelists, and thank you all of you for being such a brilliant audience. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, Amna. Thanks, William. Thanks, Chaman. Great to see you up here. No, not working. Oh yeah, don't worry. Do you want to take a?